Welcome to episode 1 of the Foot-Brain Connection, where we dive deep into building better brains, from the ground up. I'm Dr. Andrew Powell, chiropractor, kinesiologist, and CEO of Balance Orthotics. I've been sharing my message about the stimulation versus support paradigm in my weekly newsletter for over 2 years now, but today marks a new beginning. If video's more your thing, now you can catch me directly on this YouTube channel. Just like in my newsletter, I'll be doing my best to keep it real, raw, clinically relevant, and hopefully at least a little bit entertaining. It's based on my real-life experience and research, and is focused on continually helping you to achieve better results with the patients you serve, and even in your own health. So let's get into episode 1. Today I'd like to share my thinking on 3 megatrends that I see shaping health, chiropractic, and ultimately our experience of reality. Each of these is significant in its own right, but when you understand all 3, how they interrelate and compound each other, it creates a whole new understanding of the world and the vital importance of the stimulation versus support paradigm, one that goes far beyond just funny-looking orthotics. My thinking didn't start out where it is today. It's been a gradual evolution. In the beginning, I thought Balance Orthotics were just a useful tool for supporting scoliosis. That's what they were originally designed for. But over time, I came to realize they were also great for feet, knees, even for back pain. Then my understanding evolved further to recognize how they were dramatically improving my patients' balance, posture, and ultimately their brains. Today, I think they're part of an even bigger picture, how we fundamentally experience and relate to our world. Let me explain. We'll start with Megatrend 1, modern shoes. The impact, or more correctly, the lack of impact, of modern shoes on our feet and brains. You've probably heard me talk about this many times, but it really is important enough to keep on emphasizing. As humans, we evolved barefoot. Over millions of years, we constantly received sensory feedback from the ground through our feet directly to our brains. That's why the smallest, most sensitive nerves in the entire peripheral nervous system are in our feet. It's also why stepping on Lego sucks so bad. Our brains rely on that necessary feedback to correctly set up our posture, our balance, our gait, and our movement patterns. Wearing shoes deprives our brain of that. It's literally like blindfolding the part of our brain that should be receiving that feedback and turning it into appropriate motor responses. The trend towards ever more supportive, high-tech shoes has been accelerating for years, but recently it's reached a tipping point. The latest trendy brand I heard about today is on-cloud shoes. Brands like this and Skechers are competing to create the cushiest, most padded soles in existence. Now, while the idea of walking on clouds might be cool, and it definitely makes for good marketing, it is literally the opposite of being grounded. Our brains have no idea how to interpret that squishy cloud under our feet into useful sensory info, and as a result, they have no idea how to correctly equilibrate our balance, our posture, or our movement patterns. There's a Skechers store near my clinic, and every time I walk past it, I see their huge billboard advertising their new, no bending required slip-on range of shoes. I miss getting a picture of the billboard out front, but I saw this poster in the store. Whilst I understand that there are some people who genuinely struggle with bending to get their shoes on, my concern is this: the less you bend, the less you're able to bend. Although we seem to collectively believe otherwise, we actually still live in a use it or lose it universe. I've seen research showing that people who move from their home with stairs to a single level dwelling as they age actually age faster. Some things were never meant to be easy, as my parents love to remind me. Our patients instinctively understand this. They just sometimes need to be reminded. One easy way to remind them is with a few key questions. One that I often use is, hey, do you think we evolved to be barefoot or to wear shoes? No one gets this answer wrong. I also share the analogy of the back brace. If you had back pain and I told you to wear a back brace every day, do you think your back would get weaker or stronger over time? Again, no one gets this wrong. And with just those 2 simple questions, you've given them a basic understanding of the stimulation versus support paradigm. It's often a penny drop moment. They just get it. With that being said, let's move on to Megatrend number 2. We're turning into blobs. Did you know that according to our best scientific estimates, the average hunter-gatherer walked 6 to 10 miles per day, 7 days a week? Even more for males, actually 8 to 12 miles. And they continued to do this for basically their whole lives. How many miles have you walked today? According to my Oura ring, I average 9,701 steps a day, which is pretty good by modern standards, but it's definitely not 12 miles. You've probably heard the saying that sitting is the new smoking. This isn't news to any of us. We're sitting more and moving less than we ever have done before, and it's killing us. This trend has been building for decades, but it massively accelerated during the COVID pandemic. Suddenly everyone was working from home. You could just sit all day, right? You could even spend a whole week without setting foot outside of your bedroom, your bathroom, or your kitchen. The use of online delivery services exploded. You can now have basically anything you want delivered directly to your door, anytime, 7 days a week. Studies have shown that when it comes to health outcomes, incidental daily movement is more important than regular gym time. That means the stuff that you just do as you go throughout your day, the short walk from your car to the office, walking around the shops, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, stepping out to pick up a coffee. All of those daily movements add up to significant health benefits. And for many of us, all of those things have been all but eliminated from our lives. Today I find that one of my most frequently asked questions, both from patients and practitioners, is this. But Andrew, I don't really walk anywhere these days. Can these orthotics still help me? This is something I never got asked even just a few years ago. By the way, the answer is yes. Even if you only wear shoes occasionally, you're still going to benefit. I tell my patients it's like going to the gym. You don't need to go all day every day. Even just a few hours a week is helpful. The same is true with Better Balance Orthotics. Now, when I looked into the longevity research, regular physical activity trumps everything else, including diet, drugs, supplements. If you want to live longer, you need to move more. It's non-negotiable. And most people are going backwards on this metric, which means that those vital neurons in our brain that crave input from our feet are starving more than ever. Megatrend 3 is what I call the stimulation mismatch. Not only are we lacking the essential stimulation that our brains were designed for, we're also being overstimulated in all the wrong ways. We live in a hyper-novel world where our brains are constantly bombarded with sensory information that they were never designed for, and as a result, they have no idea what to do with. Current estimates are that in 2025, we're exposed to between 4,000 and 10,000 advertising messages every single day, including digital media, TV, billboards, social platforms, app, and a bunch of other sources. Many people are widely connected online through social media, but yet they're desperately lacking the type of face-to-face, real-world connections that our brains actually evolved to require. We've gone from full-length movies to YouTube clips, now to shorts and reels. The average attention span for people online these days is estimated to be 8.25 seconds. And it's not just about how we interact in the digital world. The same thing is true across basically all domains of life. If we look at it on a chemical level, our bodies are being bombarded more than ever with pesticides, food additives, personal care products, microplastics, hormone disruptors. The list goes on. According to the UN Environment Programme's review of worldwide chemical inventories, there are over 350,000 chemicals registered globally, and this number increases by an estimated 1,500 to 2,500 every single year. This is happening electromagnetically as well. We've got Wi-Fi, 5G, mobile phone radiation. None of these things existed in all the millions of years preceding the last couple of decades. This multitude of novel inputs impacts our brains and our bodies in ways that we're only just beginning to comprehend. One thing is clear. The more we provide our brains with the tried and trusted inputs that it evolved to expect and rely on, the more able it is to effectively regulate itself. What we need are things like sunshine, clean air, frequent movement, fresh organic food, and constant varied stimulation through our feet. Let me share two examples that really illustrate this point. The first is the many children who are on the spectrum that we see in our clinic. These kids turn up with diagnoses like ADHD and autism. Over the years, parents and teachers have often reported that these kids seem to be calmer and generally do better when they wear Better Balance Orthotics. I believe this is because they're receiving more normal, natural, neurologically expected stimulus, the type of stimulus that our brain is designed to rely on. The majority of neuronal output in our brain is inhibitory. That means that the more neurons are firing, the calmer the brain actually is. That's why these kids do better on stimulatory amphetamine type medications like Ritalin. These medications work by increasing stimulation to the brain, which actually paradoxically calms it down. Better Balance Orthotics are also increasing the amount of evolutionarily normal input to the brain without the potential side effects of drugs. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting anyone stop or change their medication, simply observing that Better Balance Orthotics can be a useful addition. I can think of one particular case that really brought this concept home to me. It was a lady who'd suffered a pharmaceutical brain injury that left her with photophobia, sound sensitivity, involuntary tics and movements. She was really struggling. The moment she first stood on the orthotics, her whole body went completely still for the first time since I'd met her, and a huge smile spread over her face. She said, "This feels amazing." Now, of course, the orthotics, I'm not suggesting in any way treated her brain injury, just that the normal increase in expected stimulus from her feet turned down the volume on the dysfunctional firing in her brain that had become her daily normal. None of this is to say that we should avoid the modern world, but my observation is that increasing sensory input through our feet, simply by placing this unique device in our shoes and just walking around on it daily, seems to inoculate us against many of the negative sensory overloading effects of our modern environment. Each of these megatrends is profoundly impactful on our health, but when they all converge together in the here and now, the impact becomes exponential. Our feet are less connected to the ground than ever before due to our Cushy shoes. We walk less than ever before, and we're constantly bombarded by unnatural, overwhelming stimuli. What we need are simple, easy to implement strategies that balance our neurology and bring us back into a more natural, connected, human state. Better Balance Orthotics aren't a panacea. Of course, it takes more than a shoe insert for our brains to manage all the modern challenges of life. But they're one of the easiest, most cost-effective, and surprisingly powerful life hacks that I've found that moves us in the right direction. Please join me for future episodes of the Foot-Brain Connection, where we'll continue to explore the evidence, the real-world cases, and healing implications of building healthier brains from the ground up. In the meantime, please feel free to comment below. Was there anything that resonated with you in today's first episode of the Foot-Brain Connection? I'd love to hear it, along with what you think of the name or any topics that you'd love to see covered in future issues. Thanks. Have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next episode.